For centuries, poison has been the perfect crime. Silent, untraceable, and deadly, it has toppled kings, settled vendettas, and reshaped empires. Yet behind every poisoning lies a story of ambition, fear, and human ingenuity. From the cup of a philosopher to a live-streamed suicide, we dive into 7 infamous cases that reveal poison's dark legacy and its enduring grip on power. Athens in 399 BCE was a city in turmoil. After losing the Peloponnesian War, its leaders clung to tradition. Enter Socrates, a stonecutter turned philosopher who roamed the streets, challenging citizens to question their values. The unexamined life is not worth living, he declared, a mantra that threatened the status quo. Accused of corrupting the youth and defying the gods, he faced a jury of 501 Athenians. His crime? Teaching critical thinking. When offered exile, Socrates chose death, declaring loyalty to law over life. He drank a cup of hemlock, Conium maculatum, a weed growing freely in Greek fields. Its alkaloids paralyze nerves, starting with a cold numbness, creeping upward until the heart stops. His disciple Plato immortalized his calm final moments, turning his death into a testament to free speech. Yet one question lingers: was Socrates truly a martyr or a provocateur who courted his fate? While Socrates died for ideas, other poisonings served conquest. Enter Spain's age of exploration. In 1513, Spanish conquistador Juan Ponce de León landed in Florida, seeking gold and the mythical fountain of youth. The Calusa people, native to the region, saw invaders. Masters of guerrilla tactics, they coated arrows with sap from the manchineel tree, a deceptively beautiful plant nicknamed Little Apple of Death. Even standing beneath it in rain could burn skin. Its sap contained formyl esters, toxins causing violent inflammation, blistering skin, and internal bleeding. A Calusa arrow struck Ponce de León's thigh during a 1521 ambush. He fled to Havana but succumbed to sepsis, his quest for immortality ending in agony. The irony? Manchineel sap was used by indigenous tribes to tip arrows for hunting fish. For the Spanish, it became a symbol of resistance. Today, the tree still grows in Florida, labeled with warning signs, "Do not touch." 3 centuries later, poison reached the frozen ends of the earth. In 1871, Charles Hall, a Cincinnati newspaper publisher turned self-taught explorer, led America's audacious Polaris expedition to claim the North Pole. But tensions flared on board. Hall clashed with German scientist Emil Bessels over leadership. After a celebratory meal, Hall fell ill, accusing Bessels of lacing his coffee with sweet-tasting arsenic. For 2 weeks, he writhed with cramps and delirium, scribbling in his journal, "They are poisoning me." When he died, the crew buried him in Greenland's permafrost. In 1968, forensic anthropologists exhumed his body. Tests revealed arsenic levels 76 times normal in his hair and nails. Arsenic, a metalloid once dubbed inheritance powder, mimics phosphorus, sabotaging cells' energy production. Symptoms? Thirst, vomiting, numbness in hands, and slow organ failure. But why? Bessels allegedly resented Hall's lack of scientific training. So was it sabotage or was it a cultural clash? The Arctic's ice holds the truth, and Hall's mysterious warnings. As Hall's body froze, poison brewed in China's imperial palace. In 1898, China's Qing dynasty teetered. Emperor Guangxu, enthroned at age 4, now 27, launched the 100 Days Reforms, modernizing education, industry, and the military. His aunt, Empress Dowager Cixi, saw her power slipping. She orchestrated a coup and imprisoned Guangxu in a lakeside palace. For a decade, he lived in isolation while Cixi ruled. In 1908, Guangxu died suddenly at 37, and mysteriously, Cixi died the very next day. Fast forward to 2008. Forensic scientists testing Guangxu's hair found arsenic levels 2,000 times normal. Arsenic disrupts ATP production, which leads to organ collapse. But how was he poisoned? Court records reveal a servant, under Cixi's orders, secretly spiked his food over months. Dose by dose, his strength faded. Why? To ensure her chosen heir, the infant Puyi, took the throne. Guangxu's death marked the Qing dynasty's final gasp, and sparked revolutions that birthed modern China. In Russia, poison met its match. Grigory Rasputin's life was as chaotic as his death. A Siberian peasant turned mystic, he wielded uncanny influence over Tsarina Alexandra, allegedly healing her son Alexei's hemophilia through, quote, divine intervention. To Russia's nobility, though, he was a menace, a man whose drunken debauchery and political sway threatened their power. By 1916, a group of aristocrats led by Prince Felix Yusupov decided to end his reign. They lured Rasputin to Yusupov's palace under the pretense of meeting his wife, Irina. There, they served him cyanide-laced Madeira wine and cakes. Potassium cyanide, a favorite tool of assassins, works by suffocating cells, blocking their ability to use oxygen. Within minutes, victims typically gasp for air, convulse, and collapse. But Rasputin defied expectations. He drank glass after glass, devouring 3 poison-filled cakes, and remained upright. Even more frustrated, Yusupov retrieved a revolver and shot him point-blank in the chest. Rasputin fell, only to rise minutes later, roaring, "You'll never kill me," as he lunged at Yusupov. The conspirators panicked, shot him twice more, clubbed him with a dumbbell, bound him, and hurled him into the freezing Neva River. Autopsies later revealed the cyanide failed to kill him, but he ultimately drowned, lungs filled with icy water. So how did he survive the poison? Some historians suspect the cyanide baked into sugary cakes lost potency. Others claim Rasputin, paranoid about assassination, built tolerance by microdosing toxins for years. Regardless, his death became legend. A man who outlived poison, bullets, and brutality, only to perish in Russia's frozen depths. When his body was pulled from the river, it held one final mystery. His wrists showed rope burns, but no struggle. Had he possibly freed himself underwater? For a man who embodied myth, even death couldn't strip away the enigma. As revolution rocked Russia, poison evolved into a spy's deadliest tool. Stepan Bandera, a divisive figure in Ukraine's history, rose to infamy during World War II as leader of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists. Collaborating with Nazi forces, his faction participated in mass atrocities, including the massacre of tens of thousands of Jews and Poles in Lviv and other regions. After Germany's defeat, Bandera fled to Munich, where he continued advocating for Ukrainian independence, this time from Soviet control. To the Kremlin, he was a dangerous symbol of resistance. By 1959, the KGB greenlit Operation Banderovets. Eliminate him at all costs. On October 15th, KGB agent Bogdan Stashinsky, armed with a cylinder disguised as a rolled newspaper, ambushed Bandera at his Munich apartment. Inside the cylinder was a pioneering weapon, a, quote, spray gun, loaded with hydrogen cyanide, known as prussic acid in liquid form. The toxin vaporizes on contact with air. When inhaled, its molecules hijack hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen in blood. Cells suffocate within seconds. As Bandera climbed the stairs, Stashinsky stepped forward, pressed the device to his face, and squeezed. A fine mist sprayed into Bandera's lungs. He collapsed instantly, dead within 90 seconds. The killer's only trace? A faint whiff of almonds, cyanide's notorious calling card. Stashinsky escaped, but guilt and a love affair with an East German woman led him to defect in 1961. His trial exposed the KGB's Strelka program, which engineered discreet poison weapons for political assassinations. Bandera's death wasn't just a Cold War hit. It marked a new era of state-sponsored covert warfare. The spray gun became a prototype for future tools, from poisoned umbrellas to polonium-laced poisoning mail, proving poison's enduring role in the shadows of power. In the digital age, poison became a global spectacle. November 29, 2017. The Hague's International Criminal Court ruled on Slobodan Praljak, a Bosnian Croat general during Yugoslavia's brutal 1990s collapse. His forces had shelled Mostar's 16th century Ottoman bridge, a UNESCO site, and terrorized Muslim civilians in ethnic cleansing campaigns. Convicted of war crimes, Praljak stood for his appeal. When judges upheld his 20-year sentence, he snarled, "Judges, I reject your verdict," and drank potassium cyanide from a vial. Cyanide salts react with stomach acid, releasing hydrogen cyanide gas. Victims suffocate as cells starve for oxygen, often frothing at the mouth. Praljak died en route to the hospital. The video, live-streamed worldwide, sparked shock, many wondering, how did he smuggle cyanide into a UN jail? Guards later found a second vial sewn into his jacket lining. A final act of defiance that exposed huge gaps in even the tightest security. His death was memed and debated and became a dark emblem of modern accountability and obsession with control. From Socrates' Hemlock, To War Cyanide, poison's story is humanity's story. A tool for tyrants and the desperate, it hides in shadows, yet science now drags it into light. Modern forensics decode millennia-old murders. Satellites track chemical weapons, but poison's allure endures. Why? It's more than a weapon, it's a metaphor for power, secrecy, and rebellion. As we uncover history's toxic truths, one lesson emerges. Poison may silence voices, but never the truth. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next Disputed Past video.